Yeah, losing to the Dodgers 8-0 in the first inning. The Padres are going to be patient. This Padres spring training camp is all about the words opportunities. Let's run through the laundry list of names we have there on our board. There are still veteran pitchers out there they could look at, they could talk to. The question is, how much money do they have left? Hyun Jun Ryu is not one of them. He is gone. He has just signed an all-time record contract with the Hanwha Eagles. He's going back to Korea. A $12.4 million deal spread out over 4 years. All 12.4 is guaranteed. Yeah. This guy, of course, was outstanding with the Dodgers, went to Toronto, has had some arm problems. His career record, though, is 78-48, and he pitched really well. It's obvious to me the Padres don't have the amount of money in the checking account to give him the contract that might match the 12.4 guaranteed that he got to go to Japan. Trevor Bauer is out there. Nobody is expressing any interest in a guy that's 83-56. It looks like he's either been blackballed out of the league or he's just self-destructed. Michael Lorenzen, you remember him? All-Star guy, represented the bad Detroit Tigers, threw a no-hitter last year after the All-Star game, still unsigned. I mean, the history is he was 9-9, had a high ERA well over the fours, has had only one decent year in Major League Baseball. Padres have talked to him. Nobody's moved on him at all. Mike Clevinger, Padres, Indians, White Sox, once upon a time, a real bright light, little bit of a free spirit. He's had a bunch of injury issues. Nobody's made a move on Clevinger yet. Once upon a time, Thor was really big. Noah Syndergaard, New York Mets. I mean, he was a dominant guy. He's had shoulder, forearm problems, and has now just become a journeyman bouncing around. It's kind of tough to see because he was a really dominant pitcher. Syndergaard, ex-Met, ex-Philly, ex-Dodger, ex-Angel, ex-Cleveland Guardian. Tough situation for Syndergaard, can't find a home. Once upon a time, he was brilliant. Zach Grienke, not just with Kansas City, but with the Dodgers, with Houston. He's moved around a lot. Looks like he's at the end of the road. He still wants to pitch, but his record last year with the Royals was 2-15. Not real good. Eric Lauer, former Padre prospect, did okay here, went to Milwaukee, did okay. Then he had injury issues. Eric Lauer still out on the street. I think he's recovered from the shoulder issues that he's had, but nobody's given him an opportunity yet. He probably has to take a minor league contract, at least get into some of these organizations. So those are the guys that are still out there. The Padres, obvious to me, still need pitching help. And the last name on the board is Eric Hosmer. And the reason we put that up there, he just announced his retirement. Former Kansas City Royal, former Padre, former Red Sox, former Cub, first baseman, some power, at one time Gold Glove. He just retired, and the Padres owe him $25 million more. They owe him $13 million this season, $12 million next season. To get him out of here, when they traded into the Red Sox, they had to trade $39 million cash to make this deal happen. So the Padres are still paying on Eric Hosmer. It didn't end up well. I think it tends to be one of the really lousy deals amongst a number of lousy deals general manager A.J. Preller has made. So, John, I threw a lot at you at the aftermath of the 8-run Dodger first inning today. Your reaction to any of those names on that Padre board?
Well, clearly, Trevor Bauer is the guy they need to sign. I mean, he's the only legit pitcher on that list. Every one of the other guys are on the downside of their career, or the injuries. I mean, I imagine if I'm A.J. Preller, I'm thinking, well, why would I want to spend, whatever it is, $5 million, $4 million on Thor, when I can just give my young guys a chance? And I think that's probably what they're thinking, right?
I think that's what the next 30 days will be, opportunities. That's been every conversation anybody's had with either Preller or Mike Stilt has been opportunities. So they're going to go through spring training and then see, and that's why they still have some money, not a great deal of money. $18 million, I'm told, is what they have left to spend. They're still $101 million beneath last year's spending level. I mean, their payroll at this hour is $149 million. There's not a lot of guys out there. I guess we'll ask the question. For those of you who are baseball fans, jump into the fans forum and tell us, would you, if you were the Padres, knowing what they have on the roster right now, would you make a run at Trevor Bauer as we get towards the end of spring training? Because As John just correctly alluded to, virtually every one of those guys has issues, some off the field, a lot of them physical issues, surgeries, etc., an age issue along the way. So join us in Fans Forum right now. Get into the chat box and give us your spin, because Bauer is the most legitimate guy that is still out there, unless you're going to make a trade, and I don't want to see the Padres do any of those trades.
Can we talk a little bit about Hosmer just for a minute?
Go ahead, fire away.
So when they signed Hosmer, you remember the dynamic is going around. The Padres only had Will Myers, a bunch of other guys like Solarte and a bunch of scrubs. We were excited that they were going to make a pitch, to get this guy from the Kansas City Royals. But everyone, at least the stats gurus, the nerds, the analytics guys, they all said, no way, he's not that good.
Well, he had good batting average, did hit with some power, and was a 4-time Gold Glover, most of it in Kansas City. Got here, wasn't quite the same guy, and then he deteriorated.
Yeah, he did deteriorate. But I at the time of the signing, going in, I knew he wasn't going to be dominant, but I was okay with it because it added some sort of legitimacy to the ownership group, and like they were going to make a run. But boy, was I just disappointed the way he really, San Diego got on Hosmer, and then Hosmer got on San Diego. Just really a lot of friction with the fans, maybe with the front office, and Hosmer just never really made the adjustment. I mean, the guy hit into so many double plays.
He was not a leader, and everybody thought he would be a leader. He was really standoffish in that clubhouse. You go to talk to him, it's just a weird vibe. Will Myers was a simpleton, but Will Myers was congenial. Will Myers would talk baseball with you, talk about himself, whatever you want, all the time. Hosmer he was AWOL, and his leadership capabilities were negligible. And towards the tail end, he just didn't want to be bothered. It was terrible. They spent $144 million on Hosmer, and they spent a lot of money on Will Myers. And if we'll have someday on one of these podcasts, take me some time to do the research, we'll go through the amount of money that A.J. Preller has burned. It is shocking. Now, is the Hosmer contract the worst of all time? It's probably going to be right up there with a number of other, quote, transactions that he had to make. Okay, we went from that baseball